Hello and welcome to another video and podcast from Fantasy Football Scout. Here we'll discuss the best armband options for yet another double game week. It's double game week 37. My name is Joe and joining me is Fantasy Football Scout's Tom. Tom, welcome. How are you?
Yeah, good, thanks, Joe. Yeah, looking forward to the final kind of double of the season now. Feels like the end's coming, or it's close. So yeah, all good. Looking forward to it. How are you?
Yes, good. I'm buoyed by another successful hit. So after some terrible hits earlier in the season, I got Cancelo and Nketiah in on a hit this week. So I was very pleased with that. But will I take another hit this week? And will anyone I bring in get the armband? And it's a different type of double game week 37. It's not the big teams, apart from Villa, your team, of course. But we'll have a look at the fixtures in a minute. Before we do that, I understand you've got a few words to say about Fanteam.
Yep, so this coming weekend is the Game Week 37 Satellite Monster, which is the same format as most weeks, to be honest. It's essentially building a free hit 11. But instead of cash prizes this week, you can win tickets for the €100,000 Game Week 38 season finale game. So you're basically entering for that. Entry is pretty cheap this week. I think you can get involved for about €1. So yeah, have a look at that. We'll obviously be discussing the fixtures in detail in the coming 30 minutes. So yeah, have a look at Fanteam if you're interested in that kind of thing.
Great stuff. Just before we have a look at the fixtures, I'll just explain what we're doing. We've got a slightly new format to the captaincy. We'll look at the fixtures, we'll look at some key stats about players and teams, and we'll try and sort of generate the story that is around who we're going to pick at the end. So at the end of this show, Tom and me will have our top 3 picks and we'll explain a bit of our reasoning, and a lot of that will be based on the information we'll be sharing with you, which is a lot of stats from the Fantasy Football Scout members area. Also, just want to say hello to those that have joined us early in the live chat. We got Kudak Washi, Gio, Teza, Moshi, Wayne, Peter, Bernardo, Lionel, Kenneth, Joshua and more. Thanks so much for joining us. Do remember to press the like button. Do shout out your window, tell your neighbours and your friends to tune in to the vital captaincy video and podcast from Fantasy Football Scout. Welcome all. Let's hope we can help you with your decisions. So let's have a look at the fixtures then. So I've got a picture of Richarlison here to show it, but could have had a picture of anyone from Villa as well. So we've got Aston Villa and Everton, Crystal Palace, Leicester, Burnley, all have a double game week here. So Villa have got best fixtures: Crystal Palace, Burnley, according to the ticker. Then Everton, Brentford and Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace themselves, 2 away games, Villa, Everton. Villas and Evertons are both home ties, by the way. So Crystal Palace 2 away games. Leicester 2 away games as well. Watford, ooh, great. Chelsea, maybe. And then Burnley, Tottenham and Villa away. So a sliding scale of awfulness with those teams. Meanwhile, Tottenham themselves obviously got Burnley. So we've got Kane and Son vying for attention. And then don't forget Mo Salah. He's away to Southampton. And Southampton, not to put too fine a point on it, are pretty awful at the moment. And Liverpool are great and going for the title. So yeah, Tom, looking at these fixtures, who do you think sort of edges it at the moment for your thinking for the armband?
Well, it's those Villa fixtures, isn't it, that jump out. Best fixtures according to the ticker, and I think the same. The last 3 games have been pretty positive for Villa. We drew at Leicester and then we've beaten Norwich and Burnley since. We play Burnley again, obviously, in 37. The match was originally scheduled for December, but then got called off for COVID reasons. So hence playing them twice pretty quickly back to back. So yeah, best fixtures, I think, for Villa. Under Gerrard, we've done pretty well against the bottom half teams. We've got a real problem against playing good teams. The top 8 we've had a problem with this year, but against the teams near the bottom and kind of mid-table, actually performed pretty well. So I like Villa for captaincy this week. It's where I'm going to be looking.
Yeah.
Everton with 2 good fixtures 2 home fixtures as well. I think there's maybe that Brentford game slightly more difficult than the Burnley one, which is why I'm favouring Villa at the moment, I think.
Yeah, I mean, we were saying before on air, 2 or 3 weeks ago, I got rid of Kane as part of a sort of get Son eventually kind of move, and one of the factors was that they were playing Brentford next, and I thought the Brentford defence was so good at the moment that I didn't think there was a hole there. I could be completely wrong, but I look at that Brentford game and I think they're going to cause some trouble for Everton. Crystal Palace as well, more than capable. But it's that Burnley game at home for Villa, and Burnley without their two centre-backs. So that's why I've sort of flagged up Spurs against Burnley as well.
Sure.
Burnley can be resilient, but if they haven't got the personnel there, so basically you're talking Ollie Watkins against Kevin Long, Son or Kane against Kevin Long. I mean, that sounds quite appealing for the captaincy.
Yeah, I think so. I think if you're going to look at the single game week players, I think Spurs are the obvious ones to look at, given those problems at Burnley. I mean, Burnley had been playing well prior to that Villa game at the weekend, but you take Tarkowski as well as me out of the equation, and it suddenly gets a lot trickier for them. And Villa, those are the fixtures I'm looking at. I mean, you mentioned Watkins there, Joe. He feels like the only safe option to captain at Villa at the moment. If Ings was guaranteed to start both games, I might favour him. But he isn't really, and that's because of the system that Villa have been using recently. If they play a diamond, he tends to start, and then it's one of Coutinho or Buendia in the kind of the hole. But if we switch to that Christmas tree formation, which Gerrard does like to use, and Ings is the fall guy in that system, and that's what's appealing about Watkins, because he remains a constant throughout. Tends to get 90 minutes as well. His work rate is looked on really fondly by Gerrard. But that's the appeal with Watkins. I think that regardless of system, you should get 2 starts from him.
Yeah, I mean I think with Watkins as well. I think something that you mentioned just now about tend to do better against those worse teams, which you would expect, but it is quite stark. And Villa weren't in great form, but their fixtures were poor. And so, I mean, I've had Watkins for 2 weeks. I've had 2 goals already. So that for me edges him as someone I think I'm going to get returns from. And you never know. But yeah, I'm very impressed with that. Coutinho owners, what do they do?
It's a tricky one, isn't it? I mean, he was obviously dropped at the weekend. Buendia came in. Buendia was kind of unfairly taken out of the team. Originally, because he had been playing really well under Gerrard, and then Coutinho came along, and then when you play this diamond, there's only room for one number 10, so it's either or. You can't really move Coutinho or Buendia back further, because then it just disrupts us defensively. So it feels like it's one or the other. Now, we play better in the diamond, which suggests only one of those players will start, but part of me thinks that Gerrard might use one of these 2 games to play 2 number 10s behind a forward, which means that Coutinho and Buendia might start together. Just because he likes that system. I think the Burnley game could be a chance for him to try that out again if he wants to make it work. But I mean, I don't think you could captain Coutinho this week with any confidence that he's going to get 2 starts. Maybe he can do damage in one game. He's capable, but it feels that Watkins is safe for play here, because I think he will start both games, and I can't say the same for Ings or Coutinho or Buendia.
So, I mean, we're going to look at defences in a bit, but in a double game week, I always think, a goalkeeper, an attacking fullback, these are the guys that can get you a huge haul. Or in the case of Man City, one of their central defenders, which is the case this week, Laporte. But I never do it, because I always favour the attacker. But nevertheless, this could be, for those that are more sensible than me, Luca Dean at Villa, come back from seemingly the dead, just emerged suddenly.
He has that doing it, doesn't he?
I noticed over the last 4 matches, he's had 10 chances, which is the most out of defenders' last 4. He could be a good shout for the captaincy, do you think? Yeah,
well, I think Villa's defence against these so-called mid-table lower teams, we've actually done well against, so I can see the appeal in it. I'm not sure I have quite enough confidence in our backline to register a couple of shutouts. But if you get one clean sheet and then he gets an attack in return, you're probably looking at double figures because he does well for bonus most of the time. And I think he's kind of benefited. Ramsey's been out of the team, so we've actually played Douglas Luiz on that side. We want a little bit more stability for maybe him to get forward a bit more. But yeah, he's come in and done well. I mean, it's him or Cash. It feels like a bit of a 50-50 between those two. They're both. Cash maybe has a little bit more goal threat. Dean a little bit more creative.
Yes.
So yeah, I'm not against that. The same could be said for Everton as well. You know, because defensively they've been really good at Goodison. So a Mikalenko or something, captaincy, that might be too much, but certainly in terms of options for this, if you're on a free hit,
his first goal, wasn't it, last time out?
Good one as well.
Yeah, and Jordan Pickford, back to his save machine best. For those who are looking for a duller but more maverick option, if that makes sense, captaining Jordan Pickford might not be. If there's a shutout or two, if he's going to rack up the saves he's been doing, there could be bonus there. And Everton don't score a lot, so it does indicate that their defence and their goalkeeper might get some bonus there. So in terms of FPL points, not interesting, but could get a lot of points.
Yeah, he's got bonus in the last two, Pickford, hasn't he? And Everton have shifted their system. They're a bit less possession orientated now. They're playing with a back five. And all of that kind of points towards getting at least one of their back line in for this double header. We'll talk about Richarlison shortly, but yeah, Everton haven't scored many at home recently. I still think it's a decent option, but it's been more 1-0s than I think, any high score lines. But they've had some tough fixtures as well. But yeah, we'll discuss that in a bit.
Let's have a look at the latest stats for players. So sorted this by expected goal involvement last 4 matches. Jesus is top still, but you've got to roll the roulette wheel there if you think he's going to start. And also, there's no double fixture there for Man City. Cornet at Burnley is next. Now, when these sort of names crop up here like this, like Danny Ings did on the goals imminent table last week, and then hey presto, you get a return. Cornet at Burnley. Burnley's fixtures aren't that great. Nevertheless, Cornet statistically is got the most recent form of the 4 matches he has played recently. So, an option for the armband or an outside?
Quite an explosive kind of player, he feels like, doesn't he? That kind of player that can grab a brace. He's playing on the shoulder of the last defender, always looking to get in behind. Didn't start at the weekend. He came on as a sub and got the goal. And so I'm not sure if that's fitness related. He always seemed, Dyche always used to say it was going to take him a while to get Premier League ready. He was fit to start, but in terms of that fast turnaround of games and getting up to that level. So I'd want to kind of have a look into that a little bit more. The fixtures are quite tricky, like you say, aren't they, Joe? Spurs and Villa. Yeah. And both away matches.
Perhaps those like for your free hitting, so perhaps could be a contender for a free hit, but
I prefer him not for captaincy, but as an option for somebody on a free hit. Not totally against it.
No. Moving down the list, so Jesus has got an expected goal involvement of over 3. So has Cornet. So has Welbeck over the last 4 matches. Then we've got Salah with his 10 shots inside the box, expected goal involvement of just under 3. Eddie Nketiah, 12 shots inside the box, created 3 chances as well, just under 3 as well. He's actually level with Salah in terms of expected goal involvement. Bruno Fernandes, but Manchester United aren't playing. Trossard, who is... people who've had Trossard in their team have been cursing while they've had Trossard in the team, but very quietly he's become one of the top scorers in recent games, so keep hold of him perhaps. And Saka still there, still posting the stats, 10 shots inside the box, expected goal involvement just under 3. Then, from the point of view of a double game week, those who want to captain a double game week player, then we got Richarlison, then we got Watkins of just over 2.5 expected goal involvement over the last 4. Watkins 14 shots inside the box impresses, as does his 6 chances created. Richarlison not too shabby there with 11 shots inside the box, 3 chances created. I feel I've got to captain a double game week player. If you're going to captain a double, it's got to be one of these two, hasn't it? Based on the stats.
Yeah, it does feel like that way, doesn't it? And I think Richarlison will be popular.
Yeah.
I think Everton are coming off the back of a couple of really good results, and they've been good. They've been good throughout Lampard's time at home. It's away they've had real trouble.
Yeah.
I mean, their away win at the weekend was their first since game week 3, but at home, I think they've had 7 Premier League matches under Lampard, and they've won 4 of them. They've only conceded, I think, how many have they conceded? I think they've only conceded 3 or 4 goals in that time. But they've only scored 7. So it has been kind of grinding out wins rather than, scoring 2-3 per game or anything like that. But they have played, they played City in that time. They played Chelsea. They played United and Leicester. Maybe not too tougher games, but they've haven't had an easy run. These 2 games won't be easy, but maybe they can play a little bit more on the front foot. And I like Richarlison. Richarlison's suddenly the focal point of that team without Calvert-Lewin in.
Yeah.
He's top for XGI over the last 6, I think, if you open that up. But he has benefited from a couple of penalties in that time. Yeah. But still, it feels like if Everton are going to score, you expect him to be involved in that system.
Yeah, well, nevertheless, he is on penalties, so it has to be counted for. I mean, I have put the expected goal non-penalty on, but I don't really like those stats because it just it discounts the fact that someone's on penalties, and that's
sure. It's a massive plus, and that's why I said about Ings earlier. Yeah. I like Ings because I think he'll be the one on penalties, and it's a massive thing for us, isn't it? That's why Son's so impressive this year because he's not on penalties and he's still.
So we know Danny Ings is on penalties at Villa. But whenever Ings is off the pitch, which is likely for periods of the game, if he doesn't start or gets subbed off, who's second at Villa for pens?
Probably Watkins. But the thing is that he's not a great penalty taker. No. Of course, if you're going in and Ings is getting withdrawn on 70 minutes, which often happens if he does start, then you're going to get 20 minutes when he might be on penalty. There's always a chance Coutinho might step up, but. I think Watkins will probably have that as the forward if Ings isn't on the pitch. So that's still work in his favour.
I'm just reading some of the comments in the live chat. I'm trying to remember that. There's that in that film, It's a Wonderful Life. Every time a bell rings, an angel gets his wings. Every time Cornet is mentioned, an FPL manager screams. And that's certainly the case with FPL Spartans. I scream when Cornet is mentioned. And there may be some many more to do. So we won't mention him again.
That's how I feel with Sterling after this. What he did at the weekend. So
did you transfer him out this weekend?
Yeah, I'd owned him for a couple of weeks prior. I actually captained him at Leeds and he blanked and then took him out for De Bruyne ahead of the double, which I always knew that could bite. Yeah. But I had to do it because I felt like I needed to make that move. And then, of course, he gets the brace, 16 points, I think it was.
That's typical, isn't it?
Yeah, it kind of sums up the season in a way.
Not content with punishing you, he just wants to rub it in again, and
exactly,
not good. Let's have a look at the best team attacks over the last 4 matches. Manchester City are absolutely at the top. Expected goal of just under just under 12, so over 11, whichever way you want to look at it. Then you've got Chelsea with just under 9, so there's a big gap between City and the rest. Arsenal. Burnley in terms of attack, so that I'm not going to mention his name again, but that could mean a certain midfielder gets our attention. Then Liverpool with 8 goals, but expected to score just around 8 as well. West Ham attack looking good, and then you move down to Brighton, resurgent Brighton. Manchester United defeating Brighton. I'm not just saying that because I'm a Brighton fan, but if no one noticed, they beat Manchester United 4-0. And then Villa. This is good. This is from our point of view of either Watkins or Richarlison. Villa expected goal involvement just over 7, so just below Brighton, above Crystal Palace, Everton, Manchester United. So Everton expected goal involvement, goals scored of 5.73. So in terms of this chart here, in terms of best attacks last 4 matches. Villa have the edge over Everton. And both of them are at home as well. So that does put me on the side of Watkins a bit more. Does that with you?
Well, yeah, I mean, trying to think of the fixtures. So Everton have probably, well, they've played Liverpool and Chelsea in that time, haven't they? Whereas Villa have had Norwich, they've had Burnley, maybe slightly easier fixtures. But I do think Villa are a better attacking team than Everton.
Yeah.
Regardless, I think that this new kind of system Lampard's put in maybe favours the keeping the shape a little bit more. And I think that Villa have got players in that attacking third, creative players like Buendia and Coutinho who can supply a Watkins or an Ings. So I do put the attack a little bit ahead of Everton's, especially given that, it's basically the Brentford fixture for Everton against Burnley for Villa. So I think you are going to favour one of their forwards. Not to say Richarlison can't be a very good option, though.
I mean, Leicester still have a double game week. We haven't really mentioned them yet. Chelsea and Watford, it's not great, really. The Watford game's great, but then the Chelsea game not so great. But this chart here shows that the worst attack over the last 4 matches has been Leeds. The second worst, not by much, is Leicester, and we don't even know who's going to start. It's just a no-go, isn't it, even to own at this stage?
I think the worry for Leicester is the season kind of fizzles out a bit now after that Europa defeat. And who do you captain? I mean, Maddison's got this kind of niggle which is ongoing. He missed the game at the weekend. Vardy, I don't know if he's in a place where he's going to start 2 games in quick succession. Harvey Barnes is in and out of the team, so there's nobody jumping out at Leicester despite that good first fixture. So I think there are better sides to target this week than them.
Okay, well, let's have a look at the worst defences, last 4. The worst defences are Watford and Norwich. So that Watford poor defence shows that Leicester could be an option, but as we just discussed, they're not really, because we don't know who's going to play, and their attack is awful. So you never know. Then Norwich, I mean, they're always up there. Wolves, in terms of expected goals conceded, are the next worst. Then Leeds, Manchester United, following that drubbing that Brighton handed out. Then Southampton, who are firmly on the beach. I mean, whenever I've been to Southampton, I can't find a beach. I don't think there is a beach in Southampton. There's just a port and loads of ferries by the looks of it. But there may be a beach somewhere there. Then Newcastle. Are pretty, but they've had some tough fixtures, so you never really know what you're getting there at the moment, because they do have Trippier back, I believe,
and Wilson,
but in terms of the best defences, City, Liverpool, Crystal Palace, and Tottenham are the best defences there. So both our key contenders, Richarlison and Watkins, are facing Palace, so that doesn't bode well for that one. So we're looking for Brentford and Burnley, who are sort of mid-table in terms of.
Yeah, the only thing with Palace is Guatia missed the weekend game. We're waiting for an update on that, but he got taken off as well. We don't know if he's going to be ready. And Vieira did say after the game that he may experiment a little for the final few games, possibly bring in some fringe players, academy players with one eye on next season. So that offers a bit more encouragement, maybe not in terms of if you're looking for somebody like Zaha, but the players they can bring in are good. I mean, Eze, I'd expect to get some minutes. Olise, still got attacking players who can do damage. As a differential, I don't hate Zaha for captaincy this week. He's on penalties, which is nice, which we spoke about earlier, which is a real plus. He's taking a lot of shots at the moment. He's got 8 goals in his last 13. So I think if you're on a free hit, I think including somebody like Zaha makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we haven't put him in the captaincy conversation, but Villa and Everton away is not awful from an attacking point of view. It's perhaps not the best, but as you said, Zaha's on penalties, and we sometimes Crystal Palace, one shot on goal, one shot, one goal. That's all it takes.
He'll be playing teams who get their, Villa get their fullbacks high up the pitch under Gerrard, so there might be a bit of space for him to run in behind. And even Everton in this new system with wing backs, you could see him getting a bit of joy there. I don't think anybody would be surprised if Zaha got a goal across one of these 2 matches. No. So it's a differential. I'll put him a bit behind the Villa and the Everton players maybe, but not a bad shout.
No, I think he should definitely be in the conversation for the captaincy, and definitely for those like you who are free hitting. He looks. I would definitely put him in.
Yeah.
Let's have a look at our picks then. So based on all of what we've just said, we've got our top 3 picks. So I'll put them up on the screen, and you can read out your ones, and I'll read out my ones. So there are a lot of similarities this time. So yeah, who are your top 3 and why?
Yeah, so top is Watkins at the moment. Minutes look assured, regardless of the system he's going to play. Back-to-back goals, taking lots of shots, best pair of fixtures. I wish Ings was a little bit more nailed in that setup, because I think I'd be swayed by him. But Watkins for sure, decent option this week. Number 2, Richarlison, focal point of that attack. I think he'll be involved if Everton do score, and Goodison Park has been good for them recently. That home support there, I think they'll be really up for these games, so he would be my second pick. And then third, I've put in Zaha. Yeah, it feels like a bit of a differential punt, has the tougher fixtures, but again, I think he's that talisman for that team, and I think if Palace are going to score again, he's highly likely to be involved. And if they bring in players like Olise and Eze, they've got enough firepower there. So, Watkins, Richarlison and Zaha. You can see I've ignored the single game week players there. That doesn't necessarily mean I think they're bad options. Son obviously is in a great moment at the moment. And that Burnley pairing at the back, if Tarkowski's out as well as me, obviously that bumps them up a little bit, the Spurs forwards. The only thing putting me off is the quick turnaround between these games for Spurs, because they play on Thursday in the North London derby, and they're on the early kickoff on Sunday. Now, Spurs should be able to cope with that. It's not like they're overworked at the minute, because they haven't been in Europe, but it was just something to consider if you're going for them. And Salah could do as well. Of course, Southampton not playing well at the moment, but I think with that one, we need to see tonight's game against Villa. We need to see the FA Cup final in the minutes, and then maybe make a call on that after. But at the moment, it's that stage of the season. My rank isn't great. I'm looking to gamble. I'm going for the double game week players, and that's reflected in the top 3.
Great stuff. Watkins for me, my top choice. All the reasons you've just said, nailed on, good stats, good fixture, good form. 2 goals last 2, double game week player. I mean, it's got everything that I would want. He may blank in both of them, but it's not. I won't look back on that decision and say, oh, why did I pick the main striker in the team with the best fixtures in a double game week? That's just it's a sensible play, and its ownership's not massively high still. I suspect it'll be higher amongst free hitters.
I don't think it'll be massive though. No. So, but yeah, I see this as a bit of an opportunity this week.
Yeah, that's why I'll go for him. My second choice is Son. I have gone for that. Son going for the Golden Boot, as you said earlier. Without penalties, he's always motivated, but there must be some special motivation there. He is one of those players that I don't think he personally will be affected by that tight turnaround of games. He's pretty assured to start. And it's a home game. His home form is phenomenal, and against the Burnley side without their regular centre backs, that just says Son to me. Son returns. I am seriously tempted still to captain him over Watkins. I mean, that's how much of a second choice he is. He's very close to being my top choice at the moment. So Son over Kane, just in terms of sheer FPL points. And then my third choice is Richarlison. He's for the reasons you said as well. He's got sort of what Watkins has got in terms of the fixtures, the form, and a double game week player. I think all of the 4 that we mentioned there are really good options. If I saw anyone captaining any of them, I would think absolutely fine. And there's some, as I said, with Watkins, Zaha especially, some really good differentials there. So if you want to move up the we've only got 2 game weeks left. We've got to start moving up the ranks, and this could be the week to do it. So so your looks like could be what. So your decision on Saturday, because there's a deadline Sunday.
Yeah,
are you going to be faced with a captaincy on Watkins, Richarlison?
I'm on a free hit. So the beauty of it is that I can go for anybody that I choose to. I don't have to think about the squad or transfers or anything. So I'm building that at the moment. At the moment, I've got Watkins and Ings in my free team, and Richarlison. do think Ings might be a bit risky for captaincy. I like him as an option, but yeah, I think Watkins, I think there's a good chance. I'll be at Villa Park for the Burnley game, so it'd be nice to cheer him on from the stands if he is a captain. So yeah, that's where it's at the moment. Let's see how tonight unfolds, though. Got a big game against Liverpool before that. So
well, good luck with that, because chances are I'm going to captain him as well. But I probably will. I probably will move the armband between Son and Watkins at least once, or maybe twice, or maybe 100 times on Saturday or Sunday morning. But I hope it ends up on Watkins, because he is the sensible player, I think. But in the meantime, Tom, good luck with your captaincy of Ollie Watkins. Good luck with your game week. Good luck at Villa Park. Hope but for both of us, we can rise up the rankings and as we see this season off. Yeah, thanks a lot for joining me, Tom. Thanks for everyone who's joined us in the live chat. Good luck with your captaincy decisions. See ya.